What's up, guys? Welcome to this episode of Pitching to Content. This is our Clover Hill exclusive baseball podcast, just for our baseball family at Clover Hill. We haven't done an episode in 2 years, so this is technically episode number 19, and we do this every time we bring on a new coach, a new head coach. We did it with Coach Collier 2 years ago when he first got here, and today we're introducing Coach Ford, who's our new JV coach who was with me last year on the varsity team. But we wanted to make sure you guys knew who he was, the expectations he's going to set, and his role here as the new JV head coach. Coach, how are you doing today?
Well, I think we're all still digging out the ice.
Dude, I hate the first thing we talk about is the weather, but I mean, what better way to talk about something that's impactful right now?
Like, pretty much the elephant in the room, yeah.
It's brutal. Like, I don't know, when are we going to come back to school?
I don't know. This weekend isn't looking any better. I'm just glad that, as I told you, I got my wood stove, so
yep.
Kind of gives me a brief reprieve from the house full of women.
Yeah, I'm feeling it
too.
My
thing. Yeah,
I'm feeling it too. I got 3 little ones. You got 2 teenagers. I don't know how you're doing it, dude. Like,
mental performance, man.
Mental performance. Every day, it's a living practice for us. So, let's get through this because as we get to the baseball season, this is expected. This kind of weather. The problem is it drives us as coaches crazy because we got work we want to do, but. Here we go. We're gonna have to wait for the bells to. We're here at school in the Hive over here at Clover Hill in our podcasting studio. So, but yeah, we you just watch our field, and like, how are you going to play baseball in this field with a sheet of ice?
Right.
And when's it going to clear up? But we need to get back to school first. That's step one.
Right.
But we're going to get there very soon. So, Coach Ford, this podcast is for you. Obviously, I'm going to do my share of talking because that's what I do. But I wanted you to, start off before we introduce you, who you are, where you come from, and all that stuff. I wanted you to talk to the parents and the players about, what we accomplished this off season, from the fall into the winter. What we've been doing, your perspective. What were the best things? What were some of the things that you feel like were the most impactful that we did over the off season?
Yeah. So before I start there, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least. Thank you for this opportunity.
You're welcome. Well, thank you. Thank you.
The opportunity to coach at the high school level, but also be, with a guy like yourself who's invested in the development of these players, and it's every day. It's a 24/7 thing. Coming from the Marine Corps where I just retired from, having someone with that amount of energy and dedication, I've come to find it was. After leaving the Marine Corps, it was a little lacking, but I got lucky. I got a high school coach here who's all about it, is giving me the chance to do this and coach something I've always wanted to do, and I'm really excited to get started. What we did in the off season, we're putting in the work where other teams aren't. We're doing the little things that some of our fellow teams in the county are definitely not doing. They're not out in the cold. They're not taking the reps. They don't have the equipment that we have. Some of this gear I would have loved to have as a player. I'm sure you would have too. 20 years ago or so, slightly dating ourselves, but it's an awesome opportunity, and I couldn't have gotten any luckier, I guess, to have you offer me this opportunity. So I'm really grateful for that. The guys are going to continue to work. They come every day when we do our workouts, ready to get after it. They're buying in to the edge. Mm-hmm. Our motto, and how we're going to develop them as players. And that's one of the things that I really want to hone in on during my time as a coach here is the whole picture. Not just the X's and O's of baseball, but how do we make better young men as they move forward in their high school career, but also down the road in life. That's
awesome, man. Was there something that stood out that we did? Obviously for the several months that you've been here when you were announced as the JV coach a while back in the fall. Was there anything that we did in the offseason that was just like, whoa, this is really freaking special what these guys are a part of? Is there anything that kind of jumps off the page? I didn't prepare you for that question.
No.
But popping that one at you.
No, I think really as a program developing the mental performance piece, it's something that.
Welcome to Clover Hill, where we play songs when kids need to get to class. There's no turning that off in here. So we'll go ahead and yes. And it continues. There we go. We're going to get another one of those in about 2 minutes, so just bear with us. Maybe I'll edit that out if I can figure it out. So,
the mental performance thing. So, this was a newer concept to me when I joined the program. It's something that people probably do every day, but they're not, no pun intended, think about it, but they're not putting the all the pieces together about why it's important and something they can do and work into their routines. And that was just groundbreaking for me to see that kind of thing happening at the high school level.
Yeah.
You got
not
Major
normal.
League Baseball players and college guys doing that,
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
us doing it here, you know,
Yeah.
it puts us ahead of other teams.
And,
for
and
sure.
that's something we're very proud of. I'm very proud of. When I've been doing this here at Clover Hill for 13 years, and we've had a great culture most of the time. And the second I shifted to mental performance, everything changed. Everything got better. The players understood it. They bought into it, and it's changed the way we play the game. And it, like you were saying, it's very uncommon for anybody to understand what mental performance really is and get it on a daily basis. And it's very impactful. And I think it's only 2-3 years old in our program, so I'm excited to see it continue to grow and to see the guys grow with it as they move forward in the game. Well, now it's time, Coach. It's time for us to learn a little about you. So
Okay.
I want you to start off. Obviously, I'm going to let you tell the story, but let's start with your family and your job here at Clover Hill. Oh, hold on. Every day, every period, we hear this. Supposed to get the kids to class. Maybe I'll edit it out. Maybe I won't.
It works most of the time.
Yeah. And here comes the beep. Here it comes. Beep. All right. I'll try to edit that out if I can.
Yeah.
All right. So back to your family.
Yeah.
Your family and your job here at Clover Hill. What's your role here, and how's your family affected by it?
So I am the school security officer here at Clover Hill. And I took the job at the beginning of the school year. The year before that, I was a long-term substitute for a local legend, Mr. Sean O'Hare.
The mayor.
Yeah, and then it kind of goes back to the opportunity, but also this connection to the high school that I have. That you can't. It's kind of like movie script like, because like I took over for a guy who Sean O'Hare, who his reputation speaks for
A
itself.
legend.
And I got to go into his classroom, but also then jump right into coaching.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just this like, feeling like a passing of the baton. Like hey, here you go, next gen, next guy.
Next guy.
Yeah,
Yep.
and so I took it right away. I have 2 daughters that go to school here. My wife's the office manager. Yeah, so if you could say there's an all in, it's my whole house.
It's the Ford family.
So came to get a job here. I was really trying to get into teaching. And that's still the end goal, and I'm still waiting for a vacancy to open up here. I could have taught anywhere in the county. I refuse. To me, it just wouldn't make much sense to say, I teach at Monacan, but I coach at Clover Hill. Just as an example.
Just doesn't feel right.
It's got to be all in on one
Yeah.
thing. I'm originally from Seaford, New York. I played high school baseball and a little bit of like adult baseball league, like NABA.
Yep.
Afterwards. Was a catcher my entire life, from little league all the way through. I think it's the most involved position in the
I'll
game,
say
but-
this too, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but catchers make the best coaches. I mean, catchers get the game in a different way. You see it in a lot of the big league managers. Catchers are your best coaches. The way I feel, they just see the
Yeah.
game differently, and they have a different mindset when it comes to how the game's supposed to be played.
Yeah.
So
And it reminds me of when my dad told me when we were deciding what position to play, right, in the
Mm-hmm.
little league is. He's like, because obviously he played it, right? His saying was, and it stays with me to this day, is no matter what, you are always in the game. Because you
Every
will
pitch.
have other position players may not see a single baseball hit to them, but the catcher will always be in the game.
Yep.
So
100%.
Yep.
Well, how about your, obviously there's your baseball experience, played
Yep.
some high school ball, some adult baseball. You ventured off into the Marines. And,
Yes, I did.
And honestly, before you talk about that, I just wanted to say how happy I am to finally have a service member, a retired service member in the program, because I've been faking it for years, because I really believe in the military mindset. I believe that the best team in the world is the United States military, all branches combined.
100%.
And there's so much you can learn from the best team in the world, as far as leadership goes, toughness, whatever it might be. The military has a lot figured out, and we can translate that to baseball. And I've always tried to do it without, I always call myself an imposter, a wannabe, if you will, where I learned some of the military mindset and I'm teaching the guys, but I have nothing to stand behind. You did it for how many years?
20.
20 years in the Marines. So what an experience that we get to draw from to teach our kids some of the best values that you can get from the military without having to be in the military. You get that from playing baseball at Clover Hill. So that's one of the things I love about Coach Ford. Just glad that I have somebody to take that poser patch off of me and let him talk the real stuff, because he lived it. So tell us about your time in the Marines, Coach.
So let's go back circa 2004. I had just finished my associate degree in community college. I was actually going down the road to be a police officer, kind of join the family business. My father was a retired policeman. I grew up around a lot of firemen, a lot of service, public servants growing up, which probably led into my decision to join, in addition to the fact that my brother, younger brother, 3 months earlier decided to enlist in the Army. So he left in September of 2004. And, growing up in New York, September 11th was very much a real thing.
Oh, yeah.
I was still in high school at the time, but when it happened, there was this call, there was this sense of, you see the newspaper articles, you see the clippings, the Marines were in Fallujah and all this stuff. And I thought to myself, like, I need to be there. I need to go. So, and more when my brother left, I was like, that's it, I'm going. Yeah. So, of course, he joined the Army. I had to do one up him when I joined the Marine Corps. And then so I left and did 13 weeks at Parris Island. It was, as you can imagine, more of a mental than a physical thing. Oh, yeah. But it was really rewarding to finish it and then get, the Eagle Globe and Anchor handed to you. I enlisted for 6 years. I became a sergeant. And then I decided I wanted to be an officer. I wanted to have more of an impact on a greater group of people. So I decided to put an officer package in, and I was accepted, and I went to officer candidate school in Quantico, Virginia for 10 weeks, and then 6 months follow-on was at the basic school, which is where you learn how to be a Marine officer. And then that was my last 14 years. So 6 years enlisted, 14 years as an officer. In that regard, you have a lot more respect for the Marines that you have when they find out that you were a prior enlisted Marine. You kind of get to see both sides of it. It's nothing against straight commissioned officers, no.
But there is something special to do what you did. I mean, go from an enlisted guy to an officer. There's a level of respect that comes with that. I know I respect it. The little I know, I know that the boots on the ground
right.
to become an officer, and there's a little bit more value that comes with that, a little more weight that you carry.
Yeah,
when you have that.
My Eagle Globe and Anchor ceremony was a little wonky, like with the officer side of things. There were kids getting it for the first time, and I was like, I have one of these already. Yeah. But it was just this rite of passage still that to join that side of things was slightly different. More of an impact, more responsibility. So I'm so grateful that I did it, and it's been the most rewarding experience. I wouldn't have wrote the script any other way. Like if I would have gone to teaching first and then coaching, I don't know. Having all that experience with me is really, that's the driving force behind pursuing coaching. Is I have so much to give with regards to that experience, and then the leadership aspects. I want to just give as much as I can to these guys.
Let's lean into that real quick because. I think that, like I said, the military mindset is something that we value here at Clover Hill. We learn from the military mindset. Being that you've been in the service and then you're now retired, how does the service correlate and kind of relate to baseball? How do you see it kind of relating? What are a couple of the main principles that you might be able to draw from the Marines to baseball?
So really, you're talking about the discipline that is probably, I put that as a top priority. I instituted the up by two formation. I just came up with that really catchy name. But basically, when we move to and from practice or to and from an opposing team's field, we will walk in a column of twos, so almost like a formation. So it's already kind of created a slight buzz on the campus. A couple teachers have taken notice. The baseball team kind of moves a little differently. There's a different, I guess you could call it swagger that they have. I wouldn't call it overconfidence. I would just say we're just confident, and it sets a tone. I mean, right away we're seeing the effects of it. Yeah. So discipline for one, circling back to your question, and then being best word to describe is persevering through the hard times. We talk about it in our motto. Yep. And dealing with failure. There are times in the military, I dealt with failure to accomplish certain things, but for the most part, we were successful. The mission success piece is, there's two troop leading kind of things. You have mission accomplishment and troop welfare, and as an officer, you're leader. Really, you're trying to balance those two things, and so, accomplishing the mission, but not at the detriment of taking care of the Marines. So, in this case. Yeah, we want to be really good at the JV level and develop our players, but not at the detriment of the whole. Like I started off with a holistic approach. I want to make them well-rounded, young men. So
yeah, good. Well, I'll say this. The up by two mentality. We've used that for years, and you kind of put a great spin on it. I love it. But the whole point in the up by two mentality is discipline. like you just spoke about. When a team sees us, you implemented this with the varsity group last year. When we went out for the national anthem, we were at attention. Just like the Marines do. We pop to attention just like they do. And we called it up by 2 because if we can be disciplined enough to stand at attention for the national anthem and have the discipline to do that, we're going to be a lot more disciplined in the game. And it's just broader than that now. Them in their up by 2 formation where they're moving in twos, organized, structured. I mean, that's going to be translating into the game. So I love that that's what you're bringing here. The guys need to see it. If it came from me, they'd be like, okay, coach, whatever. But coming from somebody who led with that mentality, and translating into baseball, it's amazing. So now, JV parents, this is who this podcast is dedicated to and for, and our players. I just kind of want to quickly go into the structure of how our program works with JV baseball. Coach, you're familiar with this as well. Chime in whenever you want. But JV baseball is the next level for your kids. It's the next level what they're going to. The next level from here is varsity, and from there it's college baseball if they get the opportunity to play that. This could be the last baseball they play here at Clover Hill. So it's the next level. It's not Little League anymore. It's not travel baseball. This is the next level. It's a very competitive environment that we're working in. And with that comes some responsibility. And Coach, I wanted you to kind of talk about, this being the next level, what can they expect from you, aside from obviously discipline, but what are they going to expect and what are they going to see from you day in and day out at the next level of the game?
Well, we're full of quotes and sayings in the Marine Corps, but, we have there are three words that are magic to us, honor, courage, commitment. Mm. So commitment to them and to the program, first and foremost, and really continuing to set the standards, that you've brought here and established, and get them ready to make that next step to go to the varsity. Now, I'm fully aware that some of them are going to extra sessions and play Rise or some of the other affiliates around here. I didn't grow up here. I've only come to know and get better at some of this baseball culture within the county and really Central Virginia. I plan on, in future fall ball seasons, going out, checking out, see how the guys are doing, see what the next group of players looks like, and really just try to get my name out there. I know I'm new to the game, not new to the game, but new to this role as a coach. And there are things there are unknowns, some of them, but I'm glad I have you here.
Yeah, I got your back, brother.
Yeah,
I got your back.
So really just focusing on their development. Did I answer the question?
Yeah, you're good, man. You're good there. Okay. And really, I think that's a great lead in to talk about our program. We have a JV team, we have a varsity team, but it's a program. We really believe in that. As Coach Ford's our JV coach in charge of all JV operations, our coaching he's still on our coaching staff. I mean, we're all working together. We talk all the time. We're trying to develop this thing in the right direction. So we're always in communication, trying to develop the program, not just develop our individual teams. While we spend our time with our individual teams, that's important. But we're also trying to build something together, because a lot of these guys, we don't make many cuts at Clover Hill. Who we have is who we have. And most of our guys have been with us all year long. We started the second week of school. They've trickled in here and there, but we have them. They've invested in us. So our program's going to invest back in them. So we don't cut many guys. The only time we cut somebody is if they might be a little bit behind where they could get hurt. And a lot of 8th graders, low-level 9th graders, sometimes they might find themselves in a role that they might not see the value in as a manager, but you're still part of the program. You're on the team. And that's coming. I want you guys to understand that that's part of what's coming. And Coach Ford is going to help make some of those decisions, have those conversations, be transparent, communicate where they stand with their roles. And I have his back. We will have talked about these decisions together. And he's going to make these decisions, and I'm supporting him 100%. But this is a program. These guys are going to be a part of it. If you're a manager your 8th grade year, I had so many guys that started the 8th grade manager that are contributors on the varsity team by their junior and senior year. There's a guy on your JV team. I'm shouting out Jason Juhasa. I love the kid. He was a manager his 8th grade year. This year is a 10th grader. He's an outfielder. He's probably going to be a starter 100%. For us. Mm-hmm. And he was a manager. He was a guy that could have gotten hurt. But we kept him on and look at him develop. Nobody else does that, guys. Nobody else that I know of in high school baseball keeps everybody. We invest in our guys because they've invested in us. And that investment actually pays off because they develop over time, and we don't quit on them. So that's what's special about Clover Hill. And if you don't know that, now you do. I'm telling you, you have to you have to take my word for it that it's very uncommon. So Coach Ford's going to roll with that. He's going to have some high standards, high expectations. It's going to be disciplined, it's going to be structure, and he's going to be sending me his guys when they're ready so that we can compete at the varsity level. I hate losing you at the varsity level, though. That we had a blast last year. We were very successful, like the chemistry we had as a coaching staff, but the time came for us to try to develop one of our young coaches, Coach Collier. He was a JV coach for the last 2 years here at Clover Hill, and he has some aspirations to move up in the game down the road. So I want to make sure we can help him build his resume, get some experience at this level. And I approached Coach Ford. I'm like, "What do you think? Can we make this happen? Would you be interested in taking on that role as JV coach so I can bring Aaron up, Coach Collier up?" And he took it. And ever since then, he's been all in, and I'm very excited for that. So, Coach, I want you to briefly talk about your priorities for the JV team coming up this year. What are some of your priorities, the things you want to value and things you want to really push to these guys as we get going into our season?
So one of the things, a few things, one of them be, how do we get over failure? This is a game of failure. And you could say those things to them, but when the baseballs start moving around, that kind of goes out the window. That those individual. Didn't accomplish the thing I wanted to at the plate. Didn't, the strikeouts, those things like that. Really trying to get in their headspace to, move past that. And, like we talk about the next moment, the next pitch.
And it's the application of doing that. The guys know how to do it, but they're still learning how to develop that mindset and apply it in game. Yeah,
because we have all those, those human factors in the game. We're talking all the details. Like the umpire may not be, the strike zone might be out of whack. Just those are things that I really want to help them develop some real mental toughness as far as all the mental performance stuff we're putting out there, but really hone in on it to get it laid flat at the JV level. That by the time they're at the varsity, this program that they've been in for the better part of almost some of them 5 years, it's just this common language vernacular. They're just using the same things over and over again. By the time they're juniors and seniors, they're just strikeouts are going to happen.
Yep.
And then but we're not worried. We don't focus on those. We focus on the next pitch.
We learn from them.
Yep.
We see them as opportunities to learn.
We get their next at bat. One of the observations I made the other day, I see them as eighth graders, and they're middle school, and then I am so excited that I'm shooting down the road here, but like in 5 years, I'm going to see them as seniors. And I get to watch all that, remember the development as eighth graders all the way up to being seniors. That is going to be really cool to watch. And I'm lucky to get to do that. Definitely the mental performance has really honing in on let's be tough. The discipline part is the same thing with controlling our emotions, whether in the dugout and, not getting sucked into the other team's, heckling and all this stuff. Trust me, I've been a player. I've been on that bench where we try to take the high road and they just continue to gnaw at you. And we're not going to sink to that level. Yep. We're going to continue to maintain our discipline, and I'm just not tolerating it.
And that's a program thing.
Yep.
We do that from the time they're in eighth grade all the way to the time they graduate. We reinforce that behavior all the time. So it's good for them to have that structure down at the bottom as well.
Yeah,
it's good.
And then really, I guess I'll just tie it in with, the next level. I want them ready. I want a real polished product coming up to varsity, where it's there's no reinventing the wheel. The wheel is well in motion at this point. We are just fine-tuning those things to really to take the varsity to the next level.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I'll tell you what, this year's going to be a little different. We're a little thin in the varsity group. We're talking 11, 12 guys. I'm keeping some guys down in JV for intentional reasons. I want to make sure they get their reps and they're ready for their junior year when it's really significant for them. I don't just want to bring a guy to sit on my bench. I want him to go down there and get reps.
Right.
So we're going to be treating our program this year almost like a true farm system. We're going to have the big team, and then we're going to have the farm team that, when Coach Ford says, hey, so-and-so's ready to go, he's going to tell me, and I'm going to make the move. I'm going to trust him on that. If I have a guy that's struggling, might be younger or needs to be replaced, we're going to bring another young guy up. So the competitive nature within our own team, the healthy competition within ourselves is going to be there. Obviously, it depends on how tough these guys want to be and how bad they want to be there. That's the maturity factor that we usually see grow as we get through the program. But some guys need to learn that through the time and be competitive at that JV level first. So we're willing to take it on the chin a little bit with our numbers at the varsity level. He's going to have some better success this year. Coach Collier had lower level ability for 2 straight years, and he grinded through it and got a lot out of those guys, developed them, taught them how to chip away and win a game, no quit. he kept it competitive. That was the word that we used. And now these guys that were with him are with me. They know how to be competitive, and it's going to be the same standard that we're going to pass down and keep on going with it. So, I'm going to change gears just a little bit here, Coach. We just got back from Columbus, Ohio, at the American Baseball Coaches Association National Convention, over 6,000 coaches, and I saw something in you happen in real time. Okay, he was in before we went to this convention, but I saw a spark happen, and I want you to tell me about that spark. What was it? Was it a culmination of everything the experience there? But there's something that changed in Coach Ford over the course of that weekend, and what is it that got you? He came in with a different mindset. It was already good, but it was amazing when you first got back from that convention. Tell us about it a little bit.
So, truthfully, I'm kind of getting a little emotional about it, thinking about it now. But when I got there and I walked in and saw the venue, for one,
huge.
But how well organized everything was. That's great. But what really hit me was like that. I, after 20 years of service, right, I took like a kind of a pause, I guess, hiatus, and like coaching. It's something I always want. I had so many mentors in the Marine Corps, coach-related mentor stuff, but also before then, and to like kind of open that chapter up and really have it opened there. That's when it really opened up for me. It was like, wow, this is an all-encompassing 6,000 high school coaches, but the level of buy-in from, like, you had college coaches coming from Ohio State, LSU, and not just to get up there and bump their gums, but literally pass these just information nugget after information nugget. It was just it just was overwhelming at times, especially when I went and saw the expo. It's just, you go in there and see all the gear, and then all the feels start to come back, and, there's the nostalgia about baseball and all this stuff. And then, of course, I went to Nakona because I was a Nakona guy, and I went and spent money and bought a glove there. The people thought I was crazy, but I was like, no, man, I'm here to do this. So it was overwhelming, and then I was like you said, I was like reinvigorated. It was like, no, I'm, coming into this after doing the Marine Corps stuff, you get a lot of leadership spirit. I've had led Marines and done all this stuff and been to really austere places. But standing in front of 16 or 17 about, young high school baseball players, I felt like, I know the game really well. But now in this capacity, like you're the guy. So they're, see people leaning, in the major leagues, like Booney leaning on the thing. That's me now, and then so that was really
the skipper. Yeah,
it just really came full circle at that convention where I was like, this is the thing.
Well, you didn't hide it too well that it hit you. I was getting hit left and right myself.
Right.
Every time. That's why we go to these conventions, because as a coach, I call it the white belt mentality. Yep. We will never know everything in the game. It's always changing, and our mentality here at Clover Hill is we're going to continue to grow as coaches. We do not know it all. We'll never be a black belt. It doesn't matter how many wins, what records we have. We're going to continue to grow with this. So we're going to continue to go to these conventions, and every year we're going to be reinvigorated, ready to come back, teach our guys some new stuff. And it's just one of the best tools we have as coaches. And Clover Hill players, they are the beneficiaries of that, because we looked around. I went to the Virginia one. I went to the national one. In our area, not many. Very, very few coaches invested the time, money, energy to go to these things and grow themselves as a coach. And we did. My whole staff, all 5 of us rolled, and we had a blast. So I was really excited for you, Coach. It was almost like a good time, almost like a proud papa moment, even though I'm not your papa.
No, absolutely.
I just felt, I just saw the energy come off of you. I saw the growth. I saw everything. We got your young coaches doing the same thing. It was just really a good experience. So now going back into the season as we get closer to it. As we look at the season as a whole, at the very end, what would need to happen to consider the season a success for our JV program this year?
The metrics for success, I'm really excited about the talent that we have. Mm-hmm. I've watched early on with our practices, right, in the fall, just, the other day too. The cohesion's there, the competitiveness is there. Even with the 8th graders, there's, coming up, back in the day, an 8th grader playing in JV, in my high school anyway, it was unheard of. But also, if that did occur, it'd be like, well, how good are you? And then there was this kind of this measuring happening, right? Like, how good are these 8th graders that are coming up? Success for me would be, we are developing the play. I want to see the development happening for each player, and I want to see them be competitive. Mm-hmm. I want to see them try to get better, each game, and then wins, they come, and they come with the losses too. Really, the metric for success, would I like to have a winning season? Of course. But what I really would like to see them is, from game 1 to game 20, watch that development and just getting even better throughout the season.
Yeah, it's the other thing you can really objectively mark that by usually is just wins and losses. But as a coach, parents might see this a little bit differently. As a coach, we see it differently.
Yep.
We see what they're going to be in 2-3 years, and the development they make over that time. And I'm hoping that you parents should try your best to see that as well, be with us on that mindset, because if we're not winning every game, it's not because of the coaching decisions. It's sometimes because of the game is hard, one, and two, the decisions we're making, we're trying to develop the right guys at the right time. These guys need to be able to play for the varsity team next year or even this year at a certain point. We got to get them there in a hurry. We got 20 games. It's got to happen in a hurry. And without that developmental mindset, where if we're out there just trying to win games at the JV level, we're not going to get better. We're going to throw what we think are the best players out there. We're going to try to develop our best players. And the other guys that are below that, they need to learn, grab on, and try to continue to develop and catch up if they're not there. And here at Clover Hill, you get the opportunity to do that every day at practice. So, that being said, I think that development piece, I think it would be your answer to that. We want to see development. That's a success. So, as we talk about that a little bit more, the JV team has always been seen here. We don't worry about the wins and losses. And, I want the parents to understand this. At the next level, we hire our coaches. Okay. Coach Ford's he's going to get paid to coach. At Clover Hill, we are not afraid to talk to our parents. Communication is a big thing. We're
100%.
more than willing to talk to a parent, but we really want to hear from your son first. We want to hear them and let them develop in this aspect too, and learn how to have conversations with your boss, conversations face-to-face with somebody that you need to answer to. We encourage that first. But parents, if you're not happy with something, always feel free to reach out to us. Start with Coach Ford. Here we go, chain of command. We want it player to coach communication. If you don't get what you need from that, go parent to Coach Ford communication. Not happy with that? If the player can come talk to me, if they feel comfortable enough, I understand that might be challenging. Player can come talk to me. Parent, you can come talk to me from that point. And then the hierarchy goes up from there, athletic director to principal.
Yeah.
But don't skip those steps, please. Let's start there, unless we do something really egregious.
Yeah, I don't want to beat it up too much, but yeah, I plan on being 100% transparent with each and every one of you as far as your player, their development, more so making sure they meet the practice time hacks. I've also been in cars waiting for my child to get done with a practice, and we will do our best to make those time hacks to make sure that, because like I just said, I've been on the other side of it, where it's like be there at 12:30 and we're not done until almost 10:02. So totally understand. And the other thing I was going to say with the development and the competitiveness in this, that I think I already said that, didn't I?
Yeah, you're
okay.
There. Yeah. So I think with that also comes, I want you all to feel comfortable talking to us. There's certain things that we're going to be able to give you better answers that, maybe answers you want to hear, but there's certain non-negotiables that are a little more challenging to talk about, but you can guarantee that you're going to get the honesty from us. Hopefully, I always tell the guys, don't ever trust somebody that says, trust me. Never trust them. So I'm hoping to earn your trust. We're hoping to earn your trust through this, that you'll get honesty from us and you'll get a direct answer. So things like playing time. We're not going to discuss playing. We will discuss playing time, but we're going to give you an honest answer why your son's not playing if that's the case. But we ask you to be patient. We ask you to encourage your son. Don't get, the last thing we need is negativity come from home all the way back into the program. We want to stay positive no matter what the outcome is. We're process over outcome driven. If he wants to get more playing time, you got to develop. You got to show your coach you can get there. In a 20-game sample, it's a lot harder to break in. But we're going to try to give everybody their fair shot, and we're going to get out there and compete and give everybody the opportunity that we can. But that being said, there's other things that if you need to talk to us, you're going to get direct answers from us. You're going to be honest answers. We're not going to talk about other players per se, about what they can and cannot do. We have a decision to make, and we have to ride and die with that decision. But we will take your input, and we will consider it. But, we do not have parent influence at this level. It's just not how it works when it comes to playing time. But we'll talk about it. Yep. So I just want to cross that bridge right out of the gate.
The other thing, just to finalize it, I guess, is there's implied communication, between Coach Mooney and myself. There will probably never be a time where there's a situation with a player or, how each player, he will already know about whatever any litany of things.
we talk
whether
a lot.
it's we talk every day. We're in the building every day. Most of it turns to baseball almost all the time.
Yep.
Specifically about what's going on with each of them. So we're definitely be on the same page. Nothing should be a shock to him or myself.
Yeah, and while I might not be directly connected with every JV player during the season, I still care a lot about those guys. They're our future. So I do invest at least some conversational time with them during the season, but it's valuable time because I do care about these kids and their development and where they're going to help us in the future as a program. So, all right, Coach, changing it away from the program a little bit. I want to go back to you for just a second, and this is a unique question. I heard this on one of the podcasts I listened to, but I want to know, what is one thing that you know now that you wish you had known sooner?
In the baseball realm?
Anything. Can be a tricky one.
Yeah, I wish I, if I had to call out one thing I wish I could be better at, I guess would be, or could have known better, but baseball practices.
Yeah.
Getting better at putting those
Yep.
together.
Yep.
I think I'm getting there. As far as time management. When you're, it's just like we talked about when the players are in it and the emotions are running. It's the same thing when you're now at the helm and you are not just sitting on your couch watching baseball. You are the guy making those decisions, not just for the baseball game, but what are we doing for practice?
Yep.
What are the certain things we can cut? And time management within those practices. I think. Yeah, I wish I would have had a little more exposure to that than now.
And that's why we go to the convention. That's
Right.
why you pick my brain. And really what we believe at Clover Hill, you won't see extravagant practices. You won't see 1,000 moving parts. We're going to keep it simple. We really want to make sure that the guys, especially in season, we've worked all off season to build skills and develop those skills. Now it's time for us to just collect reps. Right. And a lot of that is going to, you're going to see a lot of that. There's going to be times where we have to break down certain situations and teach the game a little bit here and there, but we're going to let the game kind of speak to us for that. But it's practice playing is still tough.
Yeah.
Here I am. I'm 43 years old. Been doing this for a lifetime. Yeah. Getting the right practice plan is a challenge. It is not easy, and you want to make the most of it. We're borderline perfectionists and trying to get that right, but every day is different. It changes,
Right.
and I do believe in the point of diminishing returns, where if we're not going to go try to do anything crazy, we're going to lose our returns from that. So let's just keep it simple. Let's collect our reps, make the guys feel good about what they're doing, because at the end of the day, that's what we got. That's what's going to be put on the field where they are right here, right now. We're not going to make wholesale changes in one practice. Now, team defense, getting some flow, getting some energy, everything's feel good for us. So that does make it a little bit easier on you, knowing that that's the mindset. Feeding them reps, feeding them feel good. Making the confidence level shoot through the roof. That's beneficial in high school baseball, and I think that that's something you guys can expect from Coach Ford, is to make sure that they're prepared as far as reps go.
Right, quality of the rep over the quantity.
Exactly.
Telling the guys make each rep count, especially when we were out there freezing the last week or 2 weeks ago. Making each rep count. My brother came out to help with practice one day, and he was really emphasizing the same thing we were saying.
Yep.
Hey, you're out here anyway. You might as well make the reps count.
Yeah, and the idea also is to not waste their time.
Correct.
If we have let's say it's middle of April, and we are grinding it out. We're 2-3 games a week. Got a rain makeup this week too, and we get another rain day. We're not going to sit here and say, "Oh, guys, we're going to do an indoor practice." We're going to give them a day off, okay? In baseball, a day of recovery is very important. They have off days in the big leagues,
Yes.
We're going to give them the day off just to relax and let their bodies heal. If they want to go get some work on their own, they can do that as well. But, like I said, just want to make sure you guys know what you're walking into. It is the next level. It is competitive. The answer no is there. You're not paying to play. In fact, we provide just about everything for our players, which is really cool. I will have a newsletter out to these guys to tell them what they need to purchase and be prepared for there. But the structure of our tryout, as we get going on February 23rd, I hate calling it a tryout.
Yeah.
I hate calling it a tryout. I like to call it the first day of practice, because that's what we're doing. And we will do some tryout type things, but we already kind of know what our guys have done. They've been with us since September.
Yes.
So yes, it's a tryout, but we're going to be practicing. So it's important for you guys to know. But the biggest changes are set up. We're going to be in the field house over by the football field. That's our locker room, our team room, if you will. That's where our coach's office is. The players can leave their equipment there. They can leave it in their locker. If they need to use it, they can take it home with them, bring it into Coach Ford's office, grab it, and on back to the field house. But their equipment can stay. And that's our space now when we start on February 23rd. So we're going to start there. please go into healthy roster. Make sure you have your physical stuff done, all the concussion forms, everything that needs to get done there. That would help me tremendously, because it's a pain in the butt to be chasing down individuals on not having the things done that they should have already got done. So that's what we're going to be checking for on day one. Then it's time to go work out. Day one, hopefully the weather cooperates. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Here we go. But moving forward, I mean, you're talking playing 2-3 games a week, practicing every day within that. We will work in our off days whenever we need to, but it's a busy schedule. These guys are, have to be committed to it. It's the next level, and their reasons for missing need to be pretty good reasons for them to be missing, because we need them there to work as a team and develop that team mindset, especially early on.
Yeah, I mean, having done the varsity with you last year, and then waiting in anticipation for that first game. As soon as that first game happens, I mean, it is just this crescendo. It just goes. He seems to pick up faster as the games keep coming, And then you factor in some of the rain delays, but then you're condensing 3 games in 1 week is absolutely, brutal.
It sucks.
Arms are hanging. It's just condensing the schedule. And
we're tired.
It goes. It really picks up.
I ain't seen my little girls in a week.
And then on varsity, it was so odd to me. We get through 20 games, and then it's like, oh, time to graduate.
Yep.
Like, whoa.
And then let's play one more.
Yeah.
So it's fast and furious. We ask for your patience. We ask for your cooperation. We ask you to get involved. There's going to be a lot of opportunities. I'll talk about that in the newsletter coming up. But it's the next level, guys. I think that's where we are. Your son has made it. Like I said, not many cuts are going to happen. They're part of this program as long as they're willing to accept the role that they're given. And you guys have a rock-solid JV coach. We don't just hire random guys around here at Clover Hill. We hire the right guy. We bring the right guy on. Coach Ford is the right guy. He's going to be a very impactful piece to our program for the future, and I'm thrilled to have him on board. So welcome, Coach, again. Welcome. This is started last year, but this is still continuing to start.
Official intro.
Yeah. So, well, thanks for coming on. Any final thoughts or anything you wanted to kind of throw out there? We covered a lot.
The one thing same thing I told the guys is that I gave them like 3 things, but I'll just bring in the one. They're going to get everything at me all the time. So there's going to be no poo-poo days or what. It's just going to be, nope, we're going to get after it. I'm going to bring this as much energy as I can each day, and enthusiasm for this. Trust me, it's quite full right now.
Cup is full.
Yeah. So
we just asked for the same thing back from the kids, too. That helps.
And I really just wanted to match my intensity, match the level of commitment, really. And it all starts with the stuff circle back to the Marine Corps stuff, leading by example. The Marine Corps officer candidate motto, Ductus Exemplo. It's Latin. It's essentially translates to, leader by example. So try to do that in everything I can, and hope to make them well-rounded young men by the time they're done in the program.
Well, while the teams aren't officially set, we love encourage the parents, be encouraging all the way across the board, support Coach in his mindset and his energy level. If we can get them getting that from every aspect, our guys are going to develop a lot faster. So welcome to Clover Hill Baseball. Obviously it'll be official on February, that week of February 23rd. It'll be official, but let's be real, if your kids have invested in us, we're going to invest right back into them. So let's wrap it up, Coach. What do you think?
Yes, sir.
Let's go and wrap it up. Thank you for taking the time getting. You're welcome. Also for getting you out of the house.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Thank you for getting me out of the house.
Yeah, I wear my ice skates to get in the building though,
because
the ice is out there.
Slick out there, man. I don't know how we're going to come back to school. It's going to be crazy when they say it's going to be insane. But thanks for listening, guys. Here we are, 43 minutes. I hope you enjoyed that and it's something that you can benefit from. We love podcasting. We don't do it much anymore, but if it's something you like, please just let us know. We'll come in and do it again.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll come do it again. So thanks for listening, guys. We'll talk to you all soon. Have a good day.